something like that is happening now. We are again engaged in this fascist situation where the corporations are exerting disproportionate, vastly disproportionate influence in the way our government operates. The Supreme Court has recently passed a law that corporations can spend money to influence elections. They treat the money as if it were political free speech. And they apparently, the law, about a month ago, I haven't read it, or the decision by the Supreme Court, but apparently about a month ago, if I recall correctly, maybe 6 weeks, they are apparently allowing even foreign corporations to come in and invest their money to support whatever candidates they like. This is an absolute abandonment of the fundamental principles this country started on. It's the idea that first we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the most radical statement in Western political history, and it's found in your Declaration of Independence. The purpose of our government is to enshrine the fact that we get our rights from God, not from government, as envisioned by the founders. Third sentence of the Declaration, that same document, Declaration of Independence, declares that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. They're telling us that the primary business of government, as envisioned by the founders, was to secure to every man, woman, and unborn child their God-given, unalienable rights. Today, our government doesn't even want to recognize that you have such rights. They want to distance you from those as much as possible. They've stripped the American people of their memory, of their heritage, of their political and spiritual heritage found in the Declaration of Independence. And they have left us in, why? Because they want us in the position of serfs, of virtual slaves, to the government, to big corporations. That's what government wants. And the way they accomplish that, in large measure, is to defeat the idea that you are endowed by your Creator with certain unalienable rights. If you don't have those rights, the government can handle you like livestock on a poultry processing plant, like chickens in a Tyson processing plant. If you don't have those rights from God, you're no one, you're nobody, you are consistent with the theory of evolution. You are reduced to the status of an animal. And as such, they can harvest you anytime they want, for again, in the name of the power for government, in the name of the wealth for private corporations. We are dealing with a kind of global fascism. We see it here in this country. It's attempting to extend itself over the world in the form of the New World Order, global free trade. Watch out for it, folks. What else do we have here in the battle over state payrolls? Data show a mixed picture. This is from the New York Times. There have been allegations that were started by a Rand Institute study back about a year ago now, maybe 15 months. About a year, I think, where they reported that the average government employee was being paid double what he could earn in the private sector doing the same job. That was true for the federal government. It's not true to the same extent for the state governments, but nevertheless, since that report, the opinion has grown dramatically among the American people, the awareness and opinion that people working for government are overpaid. And this goes to the problems we see up in Wisconsin. We have unions claiming they're entitled to continue to be overpaid. And we are seeing counter demonstrations saying, no, you're not. The unions sit back and they say, the government is involved. The governor, Scott Walker, up in Wisconsin, he's claiming he's trying to cut the budget. He's trying to cut prices, and the people in the union say he's engaged in union busting. The problem we got. Now that resonates with some people, including me. I am in favor of unions, particularly in industrial unions. I like them because they are a bulwark against corporate dominance of the sort that we see in the fascist system. And we don't see many industrial unions that amount to much anymore. There was a time when they had power and excessive power. And I don't like unions, but nevertheless I recognize them as a necessity to counterbalance fascism. I'm not in favor of these governmental unions, but regardless, when they talk about union busting, that resonates with a lot of people. I say, oh my God, the government is involved in union busting. Well, there's another writer, commentator, pundit, don't even remember who, but he made a very astute observation when he pointed out the unions themselves have been engaged in taxpayer busting. Their object for a decade or a generation, the public service unions, the government employee unions, has been essentially to rob the American people. They've been busting the taxpayers, and they just laughed and grinned about it. It's pretty funny, pretty hilarious. Get all that money. All we have to do is bribe the congressman. We just bribe them like a common whore. We pay them, and they put out. And what do they put out? They say, you give us enough money where we can get elected, and you support our reelection. And if we get in, we will pass laws that rob the taxpayer and give you the money. And the union people have said, hey, buddy, yeah, buddy, sounds good to me. Go ahead and rob those idiot taxpayers. Well, now we are seeing a time when the idiot taxpayers are finally saying, enough. We're not going to play this game anymore. You're not going to be allowed to continue to rob us. We are not going to continue to pay you exorbitant wages and exorbitant salaries. And in fact, we may not even continue to employ you. And the problem for the unions, the government employees, are massive because, again, because they've been overpaid, they have gone ahead and bought themselves homes that are actually more expensive than they can legitimately afford. They've bought cars that are more expensive than they can legitimately afford. What's the result? The result is if they lose their government job and have to get another job in the private sector, if they can even find one, they're going to take a dramatic cut in pay. And when they take that cut in pay, they're going to find it increasingly difficult to pay their mortgage or to pay their automobile payment. There's a high probability that the same people that were involved in taxpayer busting by means of unions to extort money from the taxpayers are going to find themselves now getting a certain amount of comeuppance, a certain amount of just deserves as they themselves begin to lose their homes and their cars and suffer significant turmoil. I'm Alfred ADASK. This is Financial Survival. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. Please stay tuned. Get clear whether Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin will succeed in his quest to strip public employee unions of most of their bargaining rights, but by simply pressing the issue, he's already won major concessions that would have been unthinkable just a month ago. Some of the Wisconsin's major public sector unions, faced with what they see as a threat to their existence, have decided to accept concessions that they had been vigorously fighting. They said they would agree to have more money